Greetings from Mountain Delta Missionary Baptist Church. My name is Jimmy Dale. I'm the pastor. Been sharing my personal meditations on the Sermon on the Mount, and I hope that you're blessed in some way by it. But I do want to say something about that. I'm taking little bits of the sermon at a time, and just going over the concept and just meditating on those singular truths. Maybe at the end, if I'm able, we'll share the whole thing. The whole thing takes about 19 minutes to share in its entirety. And so it would be a really long video. And so, but anyway, just for this morning, Jesus says, do not lay up treasure on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up treasure in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there will be your heart also. The lamp of the body is the eye. If the eye is clear, the whole body will be full of light. But if the eye is bad, the whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? And so we have here a concept that Jesus is sharing with us. Yesterday yesterday in devotion I did yesterday, it was talking about the treasure on earth and how everything around us, earthly, is temporary in nature, is subject to decay and corruption. This morning I'm just looking at the concept of the eye is the lamp of the body. And what he's talking about here is the things that you focus your affections on. And the concept here, he says the eye being the lamp of the body. Take our sanctuary here, for example. We have multiple sources of light. We have the chandeliers, we have the fluorescent lights, the sun coming through the stained glass windows, the spotlights up on the platform. This is a well-lit sanctuary. Which is actually a very pretty, very nice sanctuary, and we really appreciate that. But any case, because there's so many sources of light, it's a well-lit sanctuary. But the concept that Jesus is getting to here is that you can only have one singular focus in life. And this is what he's building up to, and this is why he says later in the sermon, you can only have one master. You can't serve two masters. And this idea of the light, the single source of light coming into the body, is a concept leading up to what he's going to be discussing. And so, but here he does something that's really interesting and really grabs our attention. He takes this metaphor, talking about the light, the eye being the source of light. And he sort of switches it, and you expect, and so when he says that light, when that light is actually darkness, just imagine how profoundly dark it would be. So I don't know if you've ever been in a very dark room. This is a very well lit room, but take, say, sometimes people who have to work second and third shifts, sometimes they'll block out they'll take full or heavy curtains to block out the sunlight so that they can get a good sleep in the middle of the day, because the light really affects our ability to sleep. And so we go through the concept of blocking out of the light, and it's amazing how that light creeps in. And so when it's all blocked out, it's really dark. I don't know if you've ever been in the cave and they turn out like the Linville Caverns, and you get into that cave and go back into there and then they turn out that light. I mean, it's really creepy when it's so absolutely dark. And it's the concept that he's getting to here. When that light is actually darkness that's in you, how great is that darkness? And this is the concept that I think that we lose focus on is when we're focused on the wrong things in life, we are so profoundly unaware of what's around us and what's going on and the trouble that we may be getting into because we are so in the dark. And see, this is what he's getting to here. See, when we're focused on the wrong things in life, the wrong pursuits, we are fumbling around in the darkness and have no concept of just how in the darkness we are. And this is what he's getting to here with his disciples. In fact, he's saying to his disciples, you don't even realize just how in the dark you are because your focus in life is so completely off. And so, and I think that is the way with many of us in life. We're so fumbling around in the darkness, we don't even realize just how dark it is and just how much we're fumbling. Which is the concept that he's getting to here. You cannot serve two masters because the one master leads you around in darkness and you don't even know how bad it is because you can't see, you can't understand. And so, anyway, hope that you're having a great day. The Sermon on the Mount, I really love this. I often imagine what would it have been like to be there to have heard that sermon. It says at the end of the sermon that the people were astonished at his teaching because he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. And so there's a lot of things in there. He talks about the part where he says, don't sound a trumpet. All that sarcasm. And can you imagine being there in the crowd, probably in the presence of some of those various scribes and Pharisees that he's describing, and maybe looking around and looking for their reaction. That had to be really something. And this is why Jesus was such a profound teacher and preacher. But that's not all that he was. In fact, he was much more than a preacher and a teacher. He's the Lord. And this is the case that Matthew is making out with this sermon. He is validating through this sermon that Jesus is the Messiah and the Savior, not only of Israel, but of anybody who puts their faith in him. I hope that you're having a great day. Look forward to seeing you this morning.